wide lens camera.
Okay, so we're in Bromley in Kent. We're at the iBoxing gym. We're joined by the poster boys of iBoxing, the two head honchos. We've got Al Smith and Eddie Lamb. How are we doing, boys?
Yeah, good, thanks, Kev.
Fine, thanks, Kev.
So we've done interviews with a few boys today, Ricky and Johnny and things, and everyone's praised the gym and the great things you're doing here. Al, I mentioned in the interview with Ricky earlier on, you've been in the game for years and years and years. I think you've almost gone under the radar and you don't get the credit you deserve as a coach. Just tell the people that are watching this what champions you've had, how long you've been in the game, and what you've achieved in your illustrious career.
Do you know what? I think I'm not in the game for that. So I don't think I'll name the champions. I've been in the game 30 years from boxing myself, and then an amateur trainer, which I enjoyed immensely, and then as a pro trainer, I've got great teams that makes it worthwhile. But for us, we just want to train, young men that want to go as far as they can. I'm not worried about how far they go as long as they fulfil where they're going to go. We've had some great kids: Sam Webb, Gary Walker, Matthew Barney, Ruben Grunwald, Patrick Mullins in the really early days, and obviously Brad and Lou. So Johnny Carter, the list goes on. So just to work with all people that give it their all is just it's a great privilege.
How long have you two worked together in coaching boxers? And
Too long.
Too long.
Together.
Yeah, how long have you together? How long have you been working together?
Years. I've been a pro coach for 5 years.
And how did your paths cross? How did you become, Al and Eddie, which sounds like a bit of a pop group? That
I've known him since I remember I met him in 1994 when I was boxing. I was a boxer, Fitzroy Lodge, 1995 boxed. I think Benny May at Crook Log, ABA South East London finals. And the first time I met him, he was a coach at Marvel's Lane. So I've not always known him on the circuit, and we've always been friends anyway.
Is it a case of, obviously I know you talked about you have other guys come in and help as well. Is it a case of obviously you two that train everyone, it's you two that does the game plans? Do you have separate boys you work with, or do you do it all together between the pair of them?
No, I think like Ed's got Darryl Williams that he solely trains. We all do it as a team. But Ed's done probably one of the best jobs I've seen. Darryl Williams has come from nowhere really into now just being given a good deal, and he's like one of the hottest prospects in the 12-stone division. But we work as a team. I'll go home and I say, what do you think? And he'll go, I don't want that, and then he'll see something I don't. Harry Andrews, who works in the corner with us, who doesn't help in the gym, he's a great asset because he's a good corner man, and because he's got no emotional ties, he can see something we can't. So everyone does this same. Like I said, Gary Walker and Sam Webb are both our former British champions, come in a couple of times a week to give a fresh look, a young look I should say now, we're both getting on. But
and don't forget Gav Lander as well.
Yeah, the strength trainer that obviously does probably the best part of the job.
So I mean, that itself is a credit to the pair of you, that even now sometimes, and this is not to be derogatory to some coaches out there, but sometimes you get coaches that think they know it all, it's their way or the highway. But even you, the pair of you, you're bringing other people in to help and spot other things. How important is that for a coach to still? Are you constantly learning now, and Eddie? Is it still every day, even after all these years, you're still learning new things?
Yeah, I think boxing is just a matter of your opinion, really. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I don't think we do nothing different to any other coach. We just work really hard, and my old coach told me availability and reliability is more important than your ability. So that's very important. You've got to be here.
Great man.
I'm stealing that, Eddie. That's great. That
I think we're not too proud and not too big-headed to say that we would ask maybe for maybe that little bit of help, or maybe that psychological plus in the box. We sent Brad to Adam Booth, who's a very good friend of ours, for 2 sessions. Didn't do a lot with him, just a couple of little things, but it brought Brad on. It helped towards the selling of the fight that they helped out. We got inspired. Send him up with Joe Gallagher, and he gives him a little bit of help, and he's always on the phone. So I think you've got to be. Jimmy Tibbs has been incredible. We've had him in the corner. He was second to none. Of everyone we've had in the corner to helping out, Jimmy Tibbs was in the Johnny Garton fight, I think, against Adam Battle, was unbelievable. His presence was just, I think he helped me with the Matthew Barney, Dean Francis Matthew won. But his presence and what he's learned just shows you how much you've got to learn to get to his type of level. You know, for me, Jimmy Tibbs is the ultimate coach.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's a credit to the pair of you, that even now after all these years, there's still, like you said, you're sending people to Adam Booth for a couple of things to say, you might spot something, you're sending kids to Joe Galley to help out little things. Now that's a testament to the pair of you still do that, because you get a lot of new coaches in Drogheda that come into the game that I say they think they know it all and things like that. So, you know, if that's nothing that anyone takes from this interview from you two, is that's fantastic that after all these years and having all them champions that you wouldn't list, and I know how many there are, and the list is long, you know, that you're still willing to learn. I think that's a really important lesson for, you know, thing. Have you got any secrets? If not secrets necessarily about, but if there's a young coach watching this, someone that's just starting out in a professional career, what would be the best advice A, you'd give to a coach, and B, you'd give to a new boxer if they was turning over now?
You do the boxer, I'll do the coach.
The boxer.
What?
Yeah, if you had a new, you know someone, one of your friends is just turned over, a pro boxer, you've got to give him one piece of advice, Eddie, the best piece of advice you can give him as a pro boxer, what would you give him?
Always listen to your coach, work hard and live the life. You have to live the life.
Again, that's so important. I mean, talk about that, Ed. How important is it that boxers try and stay near their fight weight or not blow up? Obviously, Ricky Hatton made the blowing up in weight sort of, you know, fancy almost and almost Hollywood, that you blew up that thing. But that is so hard, isn't it, if fighters do that, because then the camp becomes about weight loss and not about learning boxing. So is it so important they've got to stay close to the weight, or not saying they've got to be on weight all the time, but, you know, is it something you suggest they've got to stay relatively close to it?
Yeah, all our fighters in here, they're dedicated to it, mostly all year round. They probably have a couple of weeks off a whole year, hours on their case all the time, phoning up, seeing what they're doing, and getting down the gym, even off. We don't have an off season, and I think we maybe have 1 week. And I think that's what makes it so successful in here. I think
Bernard Hopkins and people like that put the cliches, you know, he'd box on a Saturday, he'd be back in the gym on a Monday. You know, this is reading, you know, he wouldn't do a lot, he'd have the smell of the gym, he would have a shadow box, he'd tap a bag, so he would always be in that gym. And I think stamina is is continuity, and it's 12 months a year, and I think that's what I would always say, you know, always be in the gym if you're doing something. Not everyone's always going to be 5-6 pound over. We've been lucky with Bradley Skeet, who can't put on weight, and Sam Webb was, you know, an impeccable 4 pound over. Not everyone can be like that.
No,
you know,
sure.
We've got fighters in it have to diet hard for it, but, you know, as long as they're not, you know, eating rubbish and drinking, which is definitely a no-go, I think, you know, if you can stay honest to yourself, you'll do well in the sport.
And now, the piece of advice you give to a new coach turnover, what would be the best advice you could give?
Do you know what? I was very lucky, because when I started off, I'd started with Johnny Eames, who I'd been friends with for a long time, so I was helped in that way. But I took a couple of journeyman fighters on. Tony Booth, who was the greatest journeyman. I had Danny Young, Ruben Grumwald, Matthew Barney, all went on to win big things. But I also had James Paisley, who was one of the toughest journeymen, who's, you know, a nice kid, and Tony Booth. So I learnt that way. I took him out to learn to cuts, hands, learn the circuit. And I think if I would say one thing is try not to be too egotistic, because it's not about you. You're just a very, very part of being of a team. You know, parents, supporters, fans, promoter, manager, matchmaker, you know, yourself, Dean Powell, Jason McCory, all of them people get probably the least praise, and they do the hardest job, because if you're not match right, you get beat no matter how good you are.
That's one of the attributes the pair of you are very good. You're very good at picking the fights for your fighters, and I know we talk a lot now, obviously, about, you know, Johnny and that sort of stuff. Make sure we're getting the right opponents. So, you know, again, that's another asset the pair of you have. You read the fight very well. You don't overmatch your kids. You're realistic with their abilities. So, look, gents, thank you very much again for having us down. iBox is one of the best gyms we visit. Always welcome. It's always fun to come down here.
There's loads of free sweets.
No, look, thank you very much. You've got a Twitter account for iBox. Is that correct? Is that?
Yeah.
I'm not on Twitter or Facebook.
At iBox Gym. At iBox Gym, I'm sure it's like at iBox Gym.
At iBox Gym as well. And you're on Facebook, are you? So you're not on Facebook?
No Facebook.
Not on Facebook.
No,
okay.
Well.
All right, so iBox Gym on Twitter if you want to get in touch with Eddie and Al. Again, thank you very much, gentlemen, and we'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, Kev.
Cheers. Thank you.